Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to Commute Talk. Still getting up early here. Still pretty gray outside. Car is way too warm today, but things are still looking up, I think. So I'm optimistic. Today, Tristan writes in asking about if I would ever switch to working on Serenity full time, would my attitude about it change over time? And how it's now a labor of love, but what if it were to become my livelihood? So thank you, Tristan, for asking about that. That's an interesting question, and I'm almost hesitant to toy with the idea because it just seems so inconceivable to me. But at the same time, things have been making really good progress. The project is pushing forward, and the amount of support that I'm getting from everyone has been absolutely crazy, I have to say. And I was looking at it yesterday, and I realized that I'm almost at 10% of the original pie in the sky goal I set. Because when I created the Patreon, then I just put a number and said, like, well, if things ever get this far, then I would switch to working on this full time. And I never thought it would get to 1% of that, but now it's getting close to 10%, and that's just, to me, that's just really, really something. And I know that I mention it every time I do a monthly update, and occasionally when I remember, I put it in the ending of the hacking videos. But it is my dream, obviously, to try to do this full time and see what comes of it. But it's not something I expect to happen. But it would be cool if it did. Now, I can't say if my attitude would change or not over time, especially because you're making it even harder to know, because I don't think that my attitude would change initially, at least not other than like getting very excited. But over time, attitudes about things change over time regardless, so probably my attitude would change over time. But I do like to remember that this is more than just a labor of love for me. This is a mechanism of survival, of sanity, of sobriety, because I started this project to keep myself busy when I was coming out of rehab. So that's always where this is grounded and rooted for me. So this is a bit different, because I've had like labors of love and hobbies and pet projects before, but nothing that was dead serious like this. So I don't know. I'm hopeful that, it was my original intention, and I'm very hopeful that I will be able to hold on to this aspect of it forever. Because even the name Serenity is a hack on myself to always remember the Serenity Prayer, to always remember to stay sober. And I've mentioned this before, but like, I always figured that if I make something that I really love, and I put a reminder in the name that I have to stay sober, then I always have to look at it as long as I keep working on it. So I like the plan. It's working so far, working very well so far. But I don't want to get lazy about it. So it's such a difficult question. But I think my attitude would probably change over time. It would just morph in different ways. And I think that I would probably go in and out of periods of extremely high productivity and maybe slightly less productivity, like any human does, because I'm just some guy, I have some guy problems sometimes, just like everyone else. And maybe that's the thing that scares me the most, actually, about this ever becoming my full-time thing. That what if I have a bad month? Will everyone run away? Will will people just like stop believing in me or in what I do? And will the funding like suddenly disappear because I had a bad month or a bad week or a bad day? That really feels like this huge unknown, and I don't know much about this, and I don't know anyone who does exactly this type of thing. So I understand that there are some people that do, but it's not like there's some big formula for these things, at least not that I'm aware of. But it's interesting, and I would definitely take the opportunity if it existed. So we'll see. But yeah, it is a labor of love, and it's a labor of survival, sanity, and sobriety. And it's always going to remain that way for me. But of course, I don't expect other people to to have the same kind of purpose in mind when they work on the system. But I'm happy that everyone can know that that's what it is for me, more than everything else. I could tell over the winter holiday now, or over Christmas, I should say, because it was frickin' Christmas. I could tell over Christmas that that the amount of stuff I could get done in like a full nice day of just hacking, it was pretty good. Like I managed to squeeze out some pretty good stuff, I think. And I'm really, really happy with just the sheer amount of things I got done in the last 2.5 weeks or whatever. And obviously, I don't think I could sustain that kind of pace indefinitely, but just the ability to do that regularly would be something. Anyways, I feel like this is bordering on daydreaming, but I'm indulging because you asked the question. So thank you for bringing it up. And I guess I should, since we're on this subject, I should mention that the Serenity operating system and all of my content about it, video, text, code, everything, whatever, will always be free and or open source. But if you would like to support my work or just support me in what I do, there are 3 options that you can use. I'm on Patreon and on GitHub sponsors, and I'm also on PayPal for those people who prefer to make a one-time contribution and walk away. And it's all good. And you can find links to all of those things in the description. And the funding, I'm very careful to always mention that it does not steer development in any way, and it never will, because I think this project, it would be too dangerous for me to start letting anyone steer what I do with this. So it's strictly voluntary donation style funding, and that's the way it will stay. If people are not interested or not able or not just don't want to support in this way, that's totally fine. I don't mind. I'm not here looking for looking for that. I'm just really happy to share what I do, to share programming with so many people, and I'm really, really happy if I can be that senior programmer guy in some young programmers' worldview that they see and they can actually talk to, because that was a very scarce resource when I was coming up as a young programmer, and I try to make myself available to the new people coming into the industry and into the craft, because I think that that's something that's really valuable. So, yeah. Anyways, this is a very strange subject. It makes me feel very strange in my stomach to talk about it, because I definitely don't like asking for things, but it is something that I feel very, very passionately about, like this whole thing, this whole project, and what I do right now, and I would love to be able to do more of it, and mostly it. So I realize that I have to say something sometimes. Anyways, I'm just going on and on. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me on the commute, and for listening to this, and for, liking and sharing and commenting and subscribing and all of those things. And special shout out to those of you who told someone else about the channel, or about the system, or about the project. It's really fun when someone comes into the IRC or YouTube comments or something, saying like, "Oh, I heard about it from my friend." Like, that warms my heart. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking now. Thanks for hanging out with me on the commute. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.